presenter. I'm really pleased to say that he works for our Atlantic Hockey Night. He joined us about 6 months ago. I've been after him for several years. He's brought so much to our group, his experience. He's a real pro, and he knows the game, and he cares, he's passionate, and besides hockey, he's also very involved with Rollette Proactive Sports, and his background is as good a solid hockey background as anybody in Atlantic Canada. He's coached at every level, junior A. He was a coach with the Moncton Alpines back then, where he financed the team with his credit cards during the tough years. But again, this guy here, and he's there for us. He's a great resource. Call or email or drop by the office if you guys want to go over practice stuff. But again, you're not going to find a better hockey mind than Roland.
Thank you. Charlie talked about the website. I passed a questionnaire out there. You guys, before you leave, I'd like, if you don't mind leaving it here, filling it out and leaving it here. It's just a way for us to get better at that. We're trying to find out your challenges. We all have them, and how we can make that better. And using the tools like Serge mentioned, technology, whatever. And please take 5 minutes to do that. I appreciate it very much. Serge, I had the privilege to coach with the Beavers, also at the high school level, and I always said if I would have 20 players like that every year, I'd still be coaching today. And Serge was the type of guy that played 40 out of 60 minutes in a game, and then when we said we called for an optional the next day, and we tell specifically Serge, do not come to practice, it's not optional for you, you do not show up. He would show up with his bag and come to practice. The guy that loves to play the game, and it's a pleasure to coach. And those stuff, and you can see it when he talks now, right? He just has a passion for the game and love for the game. Not every kid has a passion for the game, and that's one thing that if ever you have a chance to watch a video of Mark Messier, he's talking at the, I think it's the New York Institute of Leadership or something like that. It's a bit long, it lasts about an hour. If you YouTube that, you'll find it. He's on the stage, and he talks about leadership. Mark Messier, there's nobody bigger into, if you name, give me the hockey player that the definition of leadership goes with that name, is probably, we'd all say Mark Messier. And what he talks about coaching youth hockey has nothing to do with what we think about Mark Messier. It's not about winning and losing. It has absolutely nothing to do with that. And he loves to win. It's like Serge mentioned earlier. We all love to win. We all want to win. But when it comes to youth hockey, it has absolutely nothing to do with that. And what I'd like to do with you today is talk to you about kind of a presentation I prepared called Coaching Without the Remote Control. And we all do this, right? It's back check, shoot, pass, skate, right? I've done that many times. You do that from the bench. We do not coach remote cars. We do not coach robots. We coach kids. And I know I've talked to a few other coaches here, Bert and others, about this. It's probably one of the toughest things to do is to try to coach without the remote control. I actually did an experiment. I was doing some mentorship with one of my friends. I was coaching Adam and then Pee Wee. And one game I said, I want you guys, we had talked about the whole thing, and I said, I want you and your assistant coaches this next game to coach without the remote control. After that, I wanted his feedback. He said, this is the toughest thing to do. Like, this is the toughest thing to do because you're used to saying, shoot it out, shoot it in, skate, back check, change up. Now you can't say that, right? You can't coach with the remote control. So he said it was the toughest thing they had to do, but it's once you work it, it's a whole lot better. Trust me. Several years ago, I had a chance to be an apprentice coach with Tom Rennie. And I don't want to tell you my age, but this will maybe tell it. It's when the Olympic team was all amateurs. And remember they did those tours, they went around across Canada like 2 years before the Olympics, getting ready. And when they went to the Olympics, it was a team basically, because it was all amateur players. And every stop they made when they came to Moncton, I had the privilege to be an apprentice coach, go on the ice with them for practice and then be behind the bench. And Tom Rennie, if you ever hear him talk, he's a great communicator. He just talks, he finds the right words. I just love him, the way he communicates. And one thing I always kept in my mind from that experience behind the bench is that he was coaching without the remote control all the time. And he used terms that after a while the players were coaching themselves. Players would be coming off the bench and you see Tom walking towards let's say the defensive coming off and said, yeah, I know, I was D2, I was supposed to, well, I'm okay, I got it. He hadn't said anything yet. Or you walk towards the forward and say, yeah, that's right, I was F3 there, I was supposed to. They were coaching themselves. And I always say, how can we apply that to minor hockey, right? So that's where I came up with basically coaching without the remote control. And so I'd say, okay, in every rink, there's certain things that never change, right? So there's key points that never change. Usually, if you go to the Centennial Arena in Dieppe, or you go to the Olympic ice surface in Dieppe, the difference is between the dots here. The dot to dot, usually it's the same distance, usually, right? But if it's not, then at least you know there's dots, and there's always going to be dots. So you have this to start with, you have this that you know is there. So you have principles that you can use in every rink, they're going to be there all the time, right? So we're trying to use some common words or principles to use. On offense is when we have the puck. That's it. It's not in the offensive zone, it's not in the middle zone, it's not in the defense. When the team gets the puck, doesn't matter where you are, we're on offense. Okay, and then we'll continue. We'll talk about that later. On defense, so my common terminology is on offense, when we have the puck, and B, we try to move the puck outside the dots. Right? On defense, it's the opposite. It's when we don't have the puck, right? And where do we want to be? Outside the dots. Novice, Adam, Pee-wee, rec, double A, you can understand that, right? That can be applied. But that's easy to understand. So positions, you got the F1 that you all know, the F2, the F3, but what does it mean? F1 means you're the closest to the puck. Doesn't mean you have the puck, it's just you're the closest to the puck. Second, you're the second closest to the puck. That means you're support. Because sometimes I'll tell kids, okay, be support. What does it really mean, be support? Just your second, you're closest, you're second closest to the puck. And 3, obviously, is the furthest from the puck. D1, you're closest to the puck, etc. So then we have all kinds of individual skills and tactics, skating, and what I did there, I won't go through all of them. You have them in your document. But what I did there is that, okay, you have the skating, you have all of those things. You're not going to be able to do all of those things all the time. But if you have to focus on certain things, I would focus on the first 3 strides, explosive, quick feet, and B, moving feet, executing other things. We all want to do all of that. But you have 1 practice a week, and you have, I don't know, 10 practices, like in the spring, for example, 12. You won't be able to do all of that all the time. But if you have to focus on certain things, that's where I do the focus. Passing, the same thing. Shooting, the same thing. Stick handling, etc., etc. Okay? And individual tactics, one-on-ones, just a few key points. Yesterday I was talking with a bunch of coaches, and one thing we were talking about, and I said, try to do this. Try to have a game plan with only maximum 3 things in your game plan. You can see them, like they're cringing. That's tough. Like going into the restroom and say, these are the 3 things we want to do today. These are the 3, this is my game plan today. If you can, try 2. But I know 2 is it's really tough. Go with 3. It's tough. Because we always want to have the 5, 6, 7, 10, 12 different things that we need to do. We got a forecheck, we got a back check, we got to do this, got to do that, got to do that, got to do that, Goes right there. Okay? So we're trying to focus to 3 things. Try to do that. First time is tough. Second time it gets easier. The third time it gets even easier. And then you'll notice yourself, you'll be focusing more, and then you're gonna be correcting and giving feedback more focused, okay? And we'll talk about that a little bit further on. That's one other thing that we wanna do with skills, team tactics and all that good stuff. I won't go through it at all, I just put a bunch of stuff like that, and you can decide other stuff. Like, you know, back checking, you wanna be inside the dots, right? Focus on two things, eliminate the trailer, eliminate the pass lanes. That's it, that's all. Maybe you decide that on your back check, you wanna focus on another thing, that's fine. I just put some that I believe in, but doesn't mean you have to abide by all of that. I'm just saying, focus on a couple of things, okay? Power play, same thing. I know I had a good conversation with Jeff 2 or 3 weeks ago, and we were just talking, and I like to talk like that too, because I learned a lot from Jeff, and, you know, I'm trying to, and it was about their power play, about the umbrella power play and the PK, how to play against it, like the PK. And I said, why don't you try this? And I went back to this, okay? Instead of, because what happens with when they're playing the umbrella and you're trying to do the PK on it, well, the puck's there, you gotta be there, but if the puck's there, you gotta be there, and it gets kind of complicated, and Jeff says, you know, after a while, even for us, it gets, you know, so I said, let's try this. Shooting lane first, passing lane second. That's it, that's all. Let's try it. Let's go on the board. So Jeff went, and we went, tried. Let's try that. As simple as that. If you're not in the shooting lane first, and you're not in the passing lane second, then you're not in the right position. Instead of saying you gotta go there, when the puck's there, you gotta go there, because there's about 100 million different scenarios that can happen in the park, right? So, I don't know if it helped Jeff, but we had a good conversation on that type of stuff. So that's at the junior level. But it applies the same thing for the novice level and et cetera. Doesn't matter what level you are, right? So, rules of thumb. Without the puck, body first, puck second. Now, if you don't have checking, that means you don't check, but you're playing the body first. So you're starting to talk about angling and all that stuff. And then the puck comes second, right? So that, though, is simple as that. You're doing forechecking, rule. Body first, puck second. That's it. We're not talking about big systems, we're just talking about that. With the puck, you skate first, then you pass or you shoot second. So I get the puck, what do I do first? Feet first. Feet first. It's 2 words, feet first, that you can repeat, that your assistant coach can use. You can correct, you can give feedback, you can, keywords, that's it. On offense, you want to create space, and you want to create triangles all over the place. Doesn't matter if you're a D, forward, you want to create a triangle. Well, kids understand what a triangle is. Right? You want to create a triangle. Right? If I say to them, let's create some space, maybe it's tougher. You know what a triangle is? You want a triangle. Every time we get the puck, we want a triangle. Doesn't matter what zone we're in. Defensive zone, neutral zone, or offensive zone. You create a triangle. Right? Isn't that what we want? That's what we're trying to get, right? We want to get support. You know, doesn't matter how the triangle is. Triangle can be this way, it can be that way, it can be whatever. A triangle is a triangle. You want to create triangles. Starting, again, we're talking to novice, Adam, Pee-wee, bad, midget, I mean, even junior players, right? We use that. Forwards, without the puck, F1 pressures the puck. F2, you pressure the pass, and F3, you cover the middle. That's it, finish. So are you closest to the puck? Yeah? So what do? Pressure the puck. If you're number 2, what do? You're second closest, I pressure the pass. Meaning, I gotta be in the passing lane, right? Or, once the pass is made, I'm there. Okay? And again, you don't have to agree with those things. I'm just saying, find those principles, those rules of thumb, those principles, that easy ways to teach and to correct and give feedback on. With the puck, F1, you carry the puck wide, F2, you support, F3, you're the trailer. So that's principles that can apply anywhere. Doesn't matter what situation you're in. Defensive, without the puck. D1 plays puck carrier, D2 plays the pass. Simple enough, and it applies almost in everything. Are there exceptions sometimes? Yeah. There's probably exceptions somewhere, in some kind of play, there'll be an exception that does not apply. But in general, it does apply pretty much to everything. Support. Play as if there is only you and your partner on the ice. So I always say that to my Ds. Pretend that there's only you and your partner on the ice. The forwards don't exist. So don't get in trouble for your forwards. If forwards are not all open, that's not your fault. But you need to be supporting each other to help each other out. Okay? So then you start talking about support pass and all that stuff. And never get in trouble because of the forward. Never get in trouble because of the forwards. That's not your fault. So that's where you have to always help each other. Be in a position for that. Goalies, I know Dave was talking about, you're the boss. You take charge. If you want to freeze the puck, you freeze the puck. If you don't want to freeze the puck, you don't freeze the puck. You're the boss, you decide. And I'm talking about even starting that at novice and Adam and all that. Calling the plays like Dave was mentioning, D to D or stuff like that. You're the boss, you said. Every shot is yours. There's nobody else that's going to stop the puck except for you. You got to go in with that mentality like that, right? And again, like Dave mentioned, I always had a goalie coach. I was lucky. I always had somebody that was the goalie coach. But I never had to do this. So I'm saying, okay, you guys, if you don't have a goalie coach, doesn't mean you forget them. We need to be appointing somebody, like Dave mentioned, being an assistant coach, said, okay, can you do that? And can you make sure that every shot is his, that he battles to the whistle, that do whatever it takes? Yeah, I can do that. Maybe I don't know how to T-push, maybe I don't know how to do all that stuff, but I can make sure that he's aggressive, that he's fighting for every puck, that he battles for every puck. Whatever you think that the goalie needs to do, you're still able to do that even though you're not a goalie expert, right? So those are like principles that I use with my players and you can use with your players. Serge was talking earlier about life leadership. I got this quote from there and I can't remember who said it in there. Maybe it was Chris Burley, but it says, coaching by praising, recognition. It's what babies cry for and what men die for. And he says a lot of time, because sometimes as coach we're afraid to praise, right? We're afraid to praise too much. That's the word I should say. Because what happens when we praise too much, then we're not the boss anymore. We lose control. And he's saying there's not a human being in the world that has too much praising. Now, false praising is not good. Like, good job, good job, good job. Good job, good job, good job. Every time you come off, good job, good job. After a while, good job means what? What does good job mean? Okay? Now this is where it comes in play, this keywords and all that stuff. Because in his little video, he says every day his employees, he writes a note, he praises them, and it's real praising. It's not just good job, good job, good job. It's, I like what you did there, okay, or whatever. So some of you, or some of our coaches say, Roland, I don't know what to praise him about. Like, he skates on the boots, and he doesn't score a goal, he doesn't, and I have nothing to praise him about. And that's where we need to find ways. And where we can find ways is this. Like Tom Reddy, good job on the F2 there. They're coming off, good job on the F2 there. Nobody saw that in the stands. It's not on the score sheet. So you can't say good job, good goal, or good assist. No, but you can say, hey, good feet first. Got the puck, you're moving your feet, good job. Then what happens is that your assistant coaches get involved in that stuff. Because now they know what to praise about and what we're looking for. For example, face-offs. We talk about face-offs. Well, my rule of thumb is the guy with the butt on the wall goes after the puck. Okay, so let's take that for example. So let's say I'm here. I'm pressuring the puck. Win or lose, I'm pressuring the puck. That's my rule. And it applies to novice right to junior, right? So he's pressuring the puck. If you win, you lose, he's going. Everybody knows that. Okay? The assistant coaches know that, the players know that, the center knows that, everybody knows that. If it's here, whatever you want, and with novice, Adam, Pee-wee, I use it in all three zones. The guy with the butt on the board pressures the puck. Now, he's coming off the ice. good job, Jimmy, pressuring that puck off that face-off. That means somebody was watching me, so I'm being praised for something that was little detail, but at least it gives me a chance to say, hey, next time I want to do it again because I want to get that praise again, right? So it gives a chance to praise players that maybe you won't be able to praise a lot or many times, or recognize some players for some efforts, right? It's not just good job, Jimmy, good job. Good job, what? Every time I come off, you say good job. It's not bad, it's better than nothing, but I mean, good job, Jimmy, on the face-off here, pressuring the puck, but on the board, good job, right? So then it just keeps going. It just keeps going. Doesn't matter. Feet first, good feet first, Jimmy. Good job. Coming off the bench, good job, buddy. Assistant coach can go there. You know, instead of saying shoot and pass and bank it off and jumping like. And then don't forget that there's about 100 parents in the stand saying shoot and coach is saying pass and then the kid is like, I don't know what to do anymore, right? So you do what you're supposed to do. Never mind what I say or whoever says, you do what you're supposed to do. Then you're coaching without remote control. And then you're able to do corrections, you're able to do feedback, you're able to praise. Everybody wants to be praised again, so they'll want to do it again and again and again. We're doing, I was doing some mentorship with one other friend of mine, and we're doing, he was at admin level and then the PU level, and he was having problems with this defenseman, his attitude-wise, his work ethic, and all that stuff. And I said, well, the best way is to do is bring him one-on-one, have his parent or dad, mom there with your assistant coach, so, because at that age you don't want, just to make sure they're there and just talk to them, right? So he did, and he did that, and then so we're going to follow that. We'll see how that, and we talked about what to say and how to say it and all that good stuff. And then 2 weeks went by, and I was curious. I was dying to find out, okay, how did it work? How was your buddy there? How was all rolling? He says, knock on wood. He was looking for all kinds of hard wood there to knock on and say, listen, he's like a different joint. He's a different guy. He's a different, not the same kid at all. He's great. He's awesome. Okay, good. You can tell him that. And he said, no, I just don't want to stir it. Everything's going well. No. You brought him in with his dad, the assistant coach, to tell him, you weren't satisfied with his effort and all that good stuff. And now that he's doing it right and you're happy with him, you don't bring him back in? No. And not only you have to do it again, you have to do it the same way. Bring his dad, say, yep, you're right. So the next day he was practicing and he did it. And I was curious to see his reaction. He said, Roland, he grew about 6 inches. Like he was just sitting there because every time I bring in the kid, it was about something negative, right? Something bad. One-on-ones were like, but here all of a sudden it was a one-on-one positive and good job, and because of this, not just good job. So he grew, like his chest was like, he walked out like, I said, that's gonna go so far for you. Now, did he have problems again, and did he have fallbacks and all that? Of course, you're gonna have that, right? But at least that was a teaching moment, like Serge was talking about. But it was also you show them you care. You're gonna go like 100 miles further with this kid. We always talk about what's your favorite. I did a survey with the PU AAA team once, and I said to the coach, I said it was Pierre Nadeau. And I said, Pierre, I don't want you to tell the parents, I don't want you to tell the kids, I don't even want you to tell the assistant coaches that I'm going to come in and I'm going to bring the kids one-on-one and ask them 2 questions. And I don't want them to be prepared about it. And when they leave, I don't want them to talk to the other kids. I want the other kid to come in, and we're going to do that before practice. Yeah, let's do that. And the kids was like, why do you play hockey, for example, right? Not one said, because I want to win the championship or I want to win the cup. And they weren't prepared, and they were not saying the right things, or because the coach is there. Or, no, it was just him and me, and there was no reason for them to say what they said. Not one said it's because of winning. The other thing was, who is your biggest influence, right? Coach, right up there, teacher, right up there, and dad, mom and dad, right? Right up there. Their biggest influence. And it's not because, nobody said it's because we won the championship that he's my biggest influence. It had nothing to do with that. A lot of them couldn't even tell me why. But you know why, right? It's probably because they showed them that they cared about them, that they were involved with them, that they gave them, feedback and praising and stuff like that. That's why. And if you think about it yourself, like if I think about myself, what's not my idol, but my favorite teacher, who had influence on me, and I can name you a couple, and it has nothing to do about winning and losing. It's always good to win and lose, but it all has to do with this, recognition and praising and making me feel good, building my self-esteem, whatever it was, right? So these principles that we work with, we can do that kind of stuff while we're doing that, right? We haven't talked about winning or losing yet, but that will come. And like Serge mentioned earlier, I like to win as much as anybody else, don't get me wrong. But there's only one team that wins really at the end, right? If we're a 12-team league, there's only one winner. So that means the other 11, your season was useless? No. There's other things that can happen with that. So use common principles of praise and make corrections. The entire staff, assistant coaches, know what you're talking about. They help out in that. They're helping out in that. Instead of shoot and pass and back check and skate back and you know what I mean? And when they score a goal, no problem. Good job, Jimmy, good job. Good job. But what about the rest? What about the rest, right? And if you ask a kid, did you work hard? What does it mean, work hard? Or if you say, some of them tell me, oh, my kid's only there to have fun. What does it mean, having fun? Really? Does it mean that every practice you just drop the puck and you play? Does that mean? What does that mean? One time I was coaching a Bantam House League team. That's way back. And coach, can we play? Can we play? Sure. I said to my assistant coach, what? We're going to do this. We're going to play. Next practice, we're going to play. The third time that we get to do that, a couple of them, we're going to scrimmage again. So I'm saying, okay, that's not the definition of fun. But if you can challenge them, if they can succeed, have success, if you can build their self-esteem, that's fun. That's really fun. And when we practice, for example, we have a couple of principles. I like it to be high tempo, intensity, like Sergio was mentioning, challenging, and if you have those two things, it's going to be fun. They're going to enjoy going to practice. Same thing as games, right? If only the victory at the end of the game and the goal scorer or point getter is being praised, well, yeah, the defenseman that doesn't score a goal all year long, how does he get praised? You know what I mean? So that common terminology, then you sell it to the parents. I had a long conversation last year with Bert about that, and Bert was going to sell it to his parents. And I don't know how it worked, but I think he said it worked well. And I said, try to sell it. There's a reason. Now, does it mean that Bert's never yelling, change, Jimmy, change? Yeah, you're still going to do that. But it's the principle of the thing. It's let them figure it out when it's time to change. And if he doesn't change, like he stays 2 minutes, then we can talk about that. If he dumped the puck out and he was not supposed to, or he skated with the puck and he lost the puck and they scored on you, you can't say, well, buddy, you should have shot it out. No. We're working with our principles, right? We're continuing to feedback, teaching moments and all that. So I said to Bert, okay, Bert, you're gonna do the same thing behind the bench, then you're gonna sell it to your parents. So he went out and he did. I think, doesn't mean the parents are not yelling. Sometimes some will still yell, but at least they understand what the coaching staff is trying to do, right? That's what they're trying to do. So instead of just for the defenseman to take the puck, and I call it ping pong, shoot it off the glass and out, then they shoot it back in, and he shoots it back out. He tries to carry it, he tries to go tap back to his defense, and then the pass gets cut, and then they go score a goal. Oh, that's what we're trying to do with them. Don't worry, don't panic, don't have to shoot it out off the glass again, you know what I mean? And like Charlie mentioned earlier, like be strong as a coach to go through that, you know what I mean? And the perfect, I was telling the coach the other day, the perfect thing you can do when that happens, take responsibility. My fault, not the defensive fault. That was my fault, because that's what we want them to do. When you do that, it takes the pressure off the kids, and they'll try those things. And that's fun. Today, playing defense is a whole lot funner than probably when Charlie was playing at the youth level. Because they probably told him when he was playing Pee Wee, take the puck and shoot it out, and then if you have the puck, dump it in. Don't carry the puck. Don't jump in the attack.
They told me not to touch the puck.
Don't touch it. Yeah. Don't be the trailer on the play. Power play, well, yeah, take a shot from the point, but that's it. That's not fun. That's not challenging. That's not fun. So that's another thing we can do. On the bench, show them that you care. They will accomplish more and succeed. We talked about that. Once they know that you care, it's incredible how much you can get them to do stuff, right? So find your principles, find your key words, find your key things, and they're not complicated, as you can see. I put some down as what I suggest, but it doesn't have to be that. And try to apply it to everything. Try to apply it to your power play. Try to apply it to your PK, like I was talking about with Jeff. Try to apply it to whatever you want. It's pretty much, you're close. You're going to be close. You don't have to be too complicated. I wanted to finish with this. Serge was talking about progressions, drills, drill draw. This document here, this page here, just want to show you an example, okay? This here, I did with this year since September through either our programs or just going to do practices. I did it with the novice category, Adam A, Dave's team, was it Adam A? Double A. I did it with Pee Wee, our group. Did it with the Badham girls group, AAA group. I did it with Midget A group. And I also did it with the Kent Coyotes, the Junior B, or whatever the category they are, okay? Just to say that I did exactly this with all those different categories. Some were rec, I did it with a Badham rec sales team. Did it with AA, AAAs, even Junior B team. This exact same practice, this one here. After every practice, kids were saying, that was fun. And to my surprise, all the coaches and assistant coaches, that was fun. Okay, give you an example. What we did. Serge was talking about earlier, not moving the pucks, and that I learned that from him, is find a format and then run with it. Go with it. Format like a design or a format of to start the drill and stuff, and then build on that. Do that for your whole session if you want to. And then find another one and then do that for the whole session. Then you can do, like Charlie was mentioned, splitting these forwards. So let me give you an example. This one, I go to the board once, and then I never go back to the board. And I tell them, okay, we're here, this is the last time we come here. Okay? So we're gonna start the drill. The drill is gonna start always the same way. Nothing changed. So we have 4 groups. And coaches or assistant coaches here. All the pucks are here. Cones, I always put a cone because they'll cheat. Hockey players are known to be cheaters. right? So the drill goes this way. I like the pivot, but you can use a turn, you can do the stop and go if you want to. So this is, you gotta go out. The coach gives the puck, he gives it back, then they go pivot. So in other words, they're always looking at the passer, so they're pass, receive, and pass, and then they pivot, always looking at the passer that way, okay? So on the whistle, this group and this group do the same thing. Not complicated, right? So we start with that. Next whistle, it's gonna be this group and this group. Next whistle, like that. These are in there, everybody's in there. So you start, use that for a warm-up. Use that for shooting, passing, whatever. So think about it. Skating, passing, shooting. Then I'm gonna enter my systems in there, or my key words, key principles. Okay. So here we go. We go. Receive the pass, go for a shot. Warm up the goals. Sometimes I'll put a stick here, or if I have an assistant coach, or a couple of cones. So they go up. Just to add to this, they do a fake, go for a shot. Just to add to that, right? Then we'll go do that for a while. Sometimes I'll switch to groups so they don't do the pivots always on the same side. This time it's going to be, I'm going to put the D's here. So he comes out, pepper pass with it. Pass, pass. D's going backwards, forward's going forward, and once he gets to the top circle, D peels off, forward takes a shot, he comes back here. Next one, he goes there, and go like that. Then we do a one-on-one, a real one-on-one. So when he gets to that, the assistant coach said, when we're going to do the one-on-ones, I want you to go with the forwards, two things. You're going to go with the D's, two things. That's it. Okay? Stick on stick, whatever the two things are, you got that, right? So I said, okay, D's are, can't remember what I said. D's are going with him, forwards are going with him. There you go. A couple of things, it takes about 30 seconds. Two things they're watching for. Okay, let's go again. Keep going. Go one-on-one now. We're playing a one-on-one. So the D pops up, playing a one-on-one. Okay, now we're going to do a 2-on-0. So I start talking about my principles. 2-on-0, I want, when we cross the blue line, number one, okay, that touches the blue line, goes wide. Obviously, it's always the guy with the pop line. They don't need to know that, right? So the first guy to touch the blue line goes wide. The second guy goes to the net. That's a rule of thumb. Okay, we're going to talk about that later. So they go. Okay, so after they cross the blue line, there's always this: one pass, one shot, one rebound, one goal. That's what we want. We don't want two passes. We don't want knickknacks. No. Every time we cross the blue line, you should have that in your head. One pass, one shot, one rebound, one goal. See what we're trying to do? We're trying to say, you're going to the net to score a goal. Not going to the net for any other reason. And we want you to focus on, there's going to be a pass, there's going to be a shot, but there's also going to be a rebound. You've got to go get that rebound. At the end of the whole thing, we want to go. Okay, so they go. So we go 2-on-0. So what happens here? The guy that does the first pass, okay, does that. Remember, they're always doing the same thing, right? Pivoting and all that. Coach, instead of going back to the same player, he goes to the other player. So this guy gets the pass here, the next guy gets the pass here, and they attack 2-1-0. Then I can go to the 2-on-1. Whatever, okay? Then we go to, say, 3-on-0. And here, remember, the D's are in here. We want the D's involved in the attacks, right? So here, what's going to happen is this. These two are going to leave at the same time. This guy's going to leave alone. Okay? So he goes, does his pivoting. He follows. He's following. Pivot. It does the triangle by itself. You don't even have to talk about it. Because what happens is this. This guy, no, you got to start here, okay? So he gets the puck, gets it back here. So he's going wide. This guy is the second guy to touch the blue line. Where does he go? To the net. As you said, first guy goes wide, second guy goes to the net. Third guy, he's following. He becomes a trailer. Even if he wanted to go to the net, he's not there. He's not there in time because this guy's already here. He's here. And actually, it's the wide trailer, which we like a lot. So he's already wide trailer, and we haven't even mentioned it to that. Then we get our triangle that we want when we're on offense. Then you start talking about all kinds of stuff, right? So first guy that gets the blue line, what do? You go wide. Second guy, where do you go? To the net. Third guy, you're trailing. Then you force them to pass it to the trailer. Every time, they gotta go 100% of the time to the trailer. Then I can add some more, so I only need one assistant here and one assistant here. The other one, I put them here. And this we can do on a one-on-one, we can do on a 2-on-0, we can do on 2-on-1, we can do on all the situations where the assistant coach takes another shot from the point. So let's say I'm playing a one-on-one and I finish here, there's gonna be another shot here. What do you do here? Well, D has to mobilize the stick, go for the rebound. All those teaching moments come, they're all there. You can decide to do them 2 or 3 in one practice, or just do 2 and the next practice you keep building on that. The other option here is the D takes the shot, then the other option is takes a shot, then the third dumps the puck. So these two need to battle again for that puck. See what I mean? Then you can go 2-on-0, same thing. So you're talking about deflecting, being in front of the net, screening, going for rebounds. Then you dump, you take the second shot, then you take dump here, re-attacking the net, you're 2, passing, talking about passing, all that stuff. You can do a 3-on-0, 3-on-1, then you can go 3-on-3. There's all kinds of stuff, and I've never gone to the board again yet. I've gone once, and I haven't gone again. See what I mean? And they're going, and they're going. One of them once said, well, can we save some time at the end for skating? I said, wait till we finish them, then you tell me if they need more skating. Between the different drills, sometimes they would go a couple times around, give them a water break. Sometimes I'm guilty of that, I don't give them enough water breaks. Anyway, we only have an hour, let's go. So they're going, right? And at the end, he said, no, I don't think we need some skating. And all practice long, then I can start what we're going to call them systems though, but they're parts of systems, right? In here, I can do that the whole practice. I can do that 4 practices in a row, and basically I've done different things all along. Instead of doing the pivot, I'm doing the turns, doing the pivot twice around the cone, and doing it again. So I get my skating in there, I get my situations, I get all my teaching points in there, and they've gone, and they've gone, and they've gone, and they've had a chance to repeat, you had a chance to give them feedback positively, you could correct them as they go, and you get all kinds of situations. Sometimes what we do is say, okay, we're going to do that for, let's say, 40 minutes, and then we're going to split these forwards. So these we worked on tap back, moving up, tapping back, and all that. Forwards, they were working on attacking off the cycle, just one cycle and attacking the net, that type of stuff. Easy to do, easy to separate, quickly to do. But this here, I wanted to prove it to myself. I did it with all levels, and if I had to do it with GF's team, I would do that, and they would benefit from that. Same thing as the novice team. But obviously, the skating is faster, the different levels, right? Different passing, and stuff like that thing. And that's where I wanted to continue on what Serge was talking about the progressions and adding, and don't have to change the formats that much. Because we become robots, and I've done it so many times that we do drill, go do the drill. Show the drill, go do the drill. But sometimes we don't really need that. Last thing on that, when we work on whatever we're working on, skills, individual skills, or tactics, or whatever, X and O's though, that's fine, we all know that, right? But sometimes we don't work this part. And what I mean by that is, we do a drill where they'll go around the pylon, take a shot, and they go back in line. For me to do that, I need to turn my switch on for about 5, 6, 7 seconds. Then after that, once I finish my shot, I turn it off again, and I go back behind the line. 5, 7, 10 seconds maximum, right? Here though, if you do it with all kinds of stuff that's in there, it's never, it goes on and it stays on longer. It's like a shift in hockey, right? You go on the ice for 40, 45 seconds. You're not supposed to shut it off the halfway. You're supposed to keep it on for the 40 seconds. Well, if we always practice that way, that's how they're going to play. So we're trying to develop drills where they they're thinking for a longer period of time. And I really believe that we can start that at the novice level and go right through. I think we don't do that enough at that level. We're always, it's too robotic where they go around that pylon, take a shot and finish. And I know what you're gonna say, minor hockey, novice, sometimes some are skating on the boot, and that's fine. But what about, you know, okay, they go around, okay, we take a second shot, or we put a second puck there, we put another guy in there, or whatever it is. I think we can start working that at a younger level and go right through. Does that make sense at all? Yeah. Yeah. Again, not complicated, that stuff. Really not complicated, really simple. And sometimes, as coaches, and I've been guilty of that, we're trying to complicate too much, and we think, okay, now we're coaching spring hockey, well, it has to be to another level. Yeah, kids are gonna be better, scale-wise and all that, that's fine. But I mean, really, we gotta keep it simple enough that they can be challenged and they can succeed, and that you can correct and you can get feedback. You're gonna try to coach without remote control? I challenge you guys to try it. Try it once. It's not easy, really not easy, but it really pays off if it's done right. Okay, good luck, thanks a lot. Any questions?
Okay, guys, thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for all the